Hey folks, today we're going to look at Soundiron's Apocalypse Elements percussion instrument for Kontakt 5. Don't close the video just yet. I know what you're thinking, oh god, another Kontakt library. Well, what's the point? This instrument works in the free Kontakt player, so if you don't have a Kontakt, you're not missing out. This is still a product that you could check out. Anyway, let's go on to the demo and then the rest of the review. First and foremost, as we're looking over the site here, I did want to give a shout out to Mike from Soundiron, who was kind enough to shoot me this review copy. As we look at the site again, I just want to emphasize that you do not need the full Kontakt player for this one. It says right here with this graphic icon that it is applicable in the Kontakt free player. In terms of the product lineup, this is actually like the middle product of the Apocalypse instrument. There's a micro edition, which I actually bought last year. There's the player edition, and then finally the whole shebang. So this one sits at $99, and clicking the content tab here, we can see we do get a heck of a lot of content. So we get like snares, snare ensembles, basses, frame drums, cymbals, toms, bongos, and stick articulations. This instrument comes with a MIDI Grooves aspect, so we'll talk more about this in the actual session, but one of the biggest selling points of this instrument, in my opinion, is that some well-known soundtrack writers have contributed their very own percussion lines in a groove format that you can drag from the Kontakt player into your DAW. And then you could look at the MIDI and study how they made their articulations and velocity layers, and you actually could learn a lot by looking at the samples that they provided. And as always with Soundiron stuff, there is a nice and well-documented manual for you to thumb through on your own time. Well, I guess not thumb through anymore. I guess you could click through it or swipe through it if you're looking on your mobile. I'm getting old. So here's what the interface looks like when you load it up. As is pretty typical of Soundiron instruments in general, they have a rather simple approach to user interface design with a number of knobs that you can adjust for your sound. I like it. It's not complicated. You have what you need, you don't have what you don't need. In this case, we have swell, attack, offset, pitch, velocity, humanize, and then this hi-hat thing. I'll get to that in a moment. So with swell, this basically controls the volume swell, obviously. In cases of a roll or something like that, it'll control the intensity. The swell, I really can't... Okay, it's called swell because... whatever, that's what it does. So with attack, it controls the sharpness of the attack. Offset controls how long it'll take before a sample will start. So this means that you could offset the sample and it'll jump ahead into the sample playback itself. Therefore, you could get a different sound and a different playback at different intervals and different locations based on the offset that you choose. Next is release. So this controls how long the notes are going to hang around. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if you have a low number, there will be almost no sustain. Think of it like that. And if you have a higher number, your notes are going to run out forever. So pitch is probably self-explanatory, so just change the pitch of the sample with this knob here. Moving on to velocity. Again, I think it's pretty simple, but this is where you can change the dynamics of the instrument. So this works in conjunction with the MIDI velocity layers that you could edit in the PRV. Humanize is exactly what it sounds like. So if you crank on this knob, you're going to go from a nice, super tight, seasoned group of musicians to first-day drummers who have trouble holding their sticks in traditional grip. Now finally we have this hi-hat MIDI CC, which really is quite simple. So there's a very detailed hi-hat instrument, and these arrows here allow us to select which CC channel basically we want to have the control of the pedal dynamics of the hi-hat. That's pretty much it. Further down in the interface, we have the ARP and release buttons. So ARP, basically, I could make an entire video of ARP, but it's explaining it in detail is a bit beyond the scope of this video. So what you have is what looks like a velocity editing control panel here, and you can step sequence your own ideas. And you have extra knobs here that explain themselves. But really, for more detailed info on this, you probably want to hit up the manual. As I said, explaining this thing could take a whole video in and of itself. Now, the release lets us control the room release time for all the instruments we're using. Real useful. Bad joke. So as you're loading other instruments, you'll see more knobs, perhaps, such as pan. So pan left, right. These are instrument specific and, again, rather easy to understand. Next up, the MIDI Grooves section that I touched upon earlier. So I don't think I need to really chew on this page for very long. I mean, you select one of the composers here, click on one of their loops, hit the play button to demo it. Down here you can quantize the loop to a different grid size, add swing to the rhythm, change the velocity. You can mess with the tempo of it here as well, right here. Now to the right, you can select from a variety of drum kit library mappings, specific instrument, specific articulations, even the key you want to use to play it. Now, I mentioned that you could drag the grooves into your DAW, and this is possible. So to drag the groove, just click on this button here. Looks kind of like a plus sign with some arrows on it. And then just drag it into the track pane in the case of Sonar, and voila, just like that. Now we have a MIDI clip that we can open and look at. From there, obviously, I really would totally recommend opening the MIDI file, and studying how the composer manipulated the instrument, and learn how to use the instrument by example. So in my opinion, that covers the MIDI loop page. Now we have one more page, which is the effects rack. This thing is comprehensive and, again, probably could have its own dedicated video. In brief, Ace Ventura style, we have EQ, chorus, tape saturation, distortion, absence, reverb, delay, cabinet, transient designer, flanger EQ, compressor, and more. So this is pretty cool in and of itself because you'll be able to process your sounds right from the instrument itself. And you won't have to dedicate any other plugins from your DAW if you don't wish to do that. Now, once again, I would really like to load up the demo with what I came up with. This is a song I wrote many years ago, actually, and I'm doing a quick mock-up to demo these drum sounds. Alright, that does it for this one. Thanks a lot for checking out the video. And again, huge thank you to Mike from Soundiron for providing this to me as a review copy to show in this video for you guys. Thank you very much. I've been a customer of Soundiron for quite a few years, so it's been an honor, honestly. This is a fantastic choice personally for people out there like myself who mostly do metal, but they want to add some orchestral stuff, but they don't want to buy a $1,000 percussion library because it's really not necessary. So for metal, just adding in those orchestral elements, this really is a good choice. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.